Okay, so on this question, this could be a tough question. We have a limit, couple limits, and we have absolute value. So the first thing I want to teach you about is absolute value. Absolute value symbols. Um, how do you deal with them? Step one, remove them. Remove the absolute symbols. I'll say the absolute values, and put a plus or minus in front of the inside with parentheses around it. Plus when inside was positive. Negative when inside was negative. Okay, I know that that's probably still very confusing. Let me help with that. I want you to get this. This is calculus, and you really need to. It's called analysis of functions or something like that. Calculus is about analyzing. Think carefully. Let me help you. So, what you need to do is to think about absolute value. Before we get to this particular question, just think about absolute value. What you know absolute value, right? What does it do? If you have the absolute value of plus two or whatever, what does it do? Just just leaves it alone. But what if it was negative two on the inside? It changes it to plus two, right? Absolute value makes everything positive. But how does it do it? It puts another minus in front, making it positive two. Do you see that? Right? You see, so that's what this is saying right here. It's saying, look, absolute value signs. Here's the most part. Remove the absolute values. You've got to remove. We're removing them. See how it's removed here and it's removed here. Right? We removed the absolute. We have to get them out of there because they just confuse the issue. So we have to get the absolute values out of there. But to correctly get them out of there, just think with me for a second. Just think about numbers. What do you do with the absolute value two? Well, you do nothing. What do you do with negative two? You put another minus in the front because the inside was negative. So another minus, two minuses make it plus. That's what I'm saying here. Remove the absolute values and put either a plus in the front when the inside was positive or a negative in front of the inside. So you're going to go negative inside like that when the inside was negative because that way, like right here, two negatives will make positive. Okay, so there's the deal. So now we're ready. Let's go. Let's look at the first question. Limit as x goes to 8 from the left. Absolute value 2x minus 16 over 8 minus x. Okay. What's my first step? Well, it says first step, remove the absolute values. I got to get them out of there. So in other words, this is going to become the limit as x goes to 8 from the left. I'm either going to I'm going to either put a plus in the front. Notice it's parentheses now. Let me change the color, maybe be clear. It's parentheses now. It's no longer straight lines. Absolute. See, this was straight absolute values. This is removed. Let me change my color here. Removed. Yeah, so I'm going to remove them. In the bottom, we don't care about the bottom. There's nothing going on with the bottom. Bottom just stays the same. Or I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to put a minus in the front, right? I got to decide which one of those is right. Over 8 minus x. You're tracking with me. See, it's either going to be this one or this one. How do I know which one? It says right here. First step, absolute values. You got to remove the absolute values and either put a plus or a minus in the front of the inside. How do you know? Put a plus in the front when the inside was already positive. Put a minus in the front when it was negative because that way two two negatives, like right here, negative and negative will make it positive. That's how absolute values make negative things positive, is they put another negative in the front, two negatives make it positive. So I got to come back here and go, okay, so these absolute values are going to either have a plus in the front or a minus in the front of the whole inside, no more absolute values, just parentheses. How do you know which one's right? Well, just try putting in what does this say? This says 8 from the left. So that's not negative 8. That minus right there means from the left, huh? You think about a number line, 8, what's left of it? Like 7.9. So put in 7.9 right there. And if you hit the buttons on your calculator, 2 times 7.9 minus 16 will be negative, right? Because 2 times 8 is 16. 16 minus 16 will be 0. Put in something less than 8, like 7.9, that'll be, you can hit the buttons on the calculator if you're not sure. And this will come out negative. So when the inside is negative, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to put a minus in the front. So we're going with this one. So let me get rid of this. In fact, I should have just done it from the beginning. It's all right. And so it's the limit as x goes to 8 left. And I'm going to put a minus in the front right there over 8 minus x. Right? Is that good? There's just parentheses now. I removed the absolute values. They're no longer there. And I put a minus in the front. Why? Because the inside was going to come out negative. How do you know? I put in something little. This is 8 from the left, like 7.9. Put in 7.9. That's negative inside there. So now we can simplify it from here. So what becomes of this? Well, so going to 8 from the left. Now on the top, distribute that minus sign. Get minus 2x plus 16. You good there? So a minus distributes just like anything in the front of the parenthesis. It multiplies, hits both the things on the inside, changing both the signs. Okay, now how do I simplify that? Well, you know what, actually, no, that's good, actually. We're doing good. Now we got a factor, the top and the bottom. Do you remember factoring? You look at these guys, say, what do they have in common? 2, and the front one's negative, so take out a negative 2. Now ask yourself, what works? Negative 2 times what and negative 2 times what will go back to this guy and this guy. Well, this has got to be x, negative 2x, right? And then this has got to be actually minus 8. See that? Minus 2 times minus 8 will go back to plus 16, won't it? And on the bottom, let's turn this expression around. Let's make it negative x plus 8. You see how the negative x went to the front and the 8, which is really plus 8, went to the back. You can switch the order on things all you want as long as you take their signs with them. See, the negative was in front of the x. The negative is still in front of the x. There was nothing in front of the 8, which really means positive. He's still positive, right? You can always change the order as long as you take their signs with them. Just think about normal numbers like negative 2 plus 3. That's the same thing as 3 minus 2, right? If you lose $2 and gain back 3, you gained $1 overall. You have $3, lose 2, you're up 1. Same thing. So that's the same thing. The order doesn't matter. The signs in front matter. So I like the X's in the front and the numbers in the back. Just makes life easier. So I reordered them. Okay, now how do you factor this? They don't have anything in common, right? But you do, the front's negative. So you do have to take out negative 1. What does that leave? Negative 1 times what? Times what? This will be x and minus 8 because negative 1 times negative 8 will go back to plus 8. So I just factor the top and the bottom. Whenever there's a negative in front, you factor out negative. Okay, now what does this do? Now these cancel. And so all we have left then is negative 2 over negative 1, or which is positive 2. Right? Just negative 2 over negative 1, which is plus 2. So that's the answer to the first part, plus 2. Now let's do the second part. I know that was not easy. Let's try the second part. This makes some more sense. So now we're going to do limit x goes to 8 from the right of the same expression. So I'll come down here. Okay, so it's the limit x goes to 8 from the right. What was that expression? Absolute value 2x minus 16 over 8 minus x. Value 2x minus 16 over 8 minus x. Okay. Again, what's our first order of business? Get rid of those absolute value signs. So, excuse me, I'm going to put parenthesis 2x minus 16 and either put a plus or a minus in the front. And the bottom's not changing yet. But I'm just focused on the top right now. Again, what do you always do with absolute values? You get rid of them. They're a pain in the behind. We got to get rid of them. How do you do it? Excuse me. You just put parentheses instead, and you put either a plus or a minus in the front. Well, how do you know which one? Remember what we learned? Remember this example back here. If the inside is already positive, they do nothing. They just go away. If the inside's negative, they put another minus because that way two minuses make a plus. That's how they make negative things positive. When they're already negative, they put another minus in the front. If the thing's already positive, it just leaves it alone. So we got to find out, is the inside positive or is the inside negative? Well, this is 8 from the right. Excuse me. So this is from the right. Right here's 8. This would be like 8.01, right? Plus means from the right. So if you put in 8.01, that's going to be 2 times 8. That's going to be 16.02 minus 16. That's going to be positive 0.02. So the inside is what? Positive, isn't it? So if the inside is positive, it just leaves a positive out there. So remember the last one, we put in 7.9 and the inside came out negative. So we had to put a negative in the front of the parentheses because that negative and then the inside being negative will make the top positive. So absolute values make something positive and then they vanish. How do they do it? You check if the inside, when you plug in, is coming out negative, you're gonna put another minus in the front. That way two negatives make positive. Excuse me, but if the inside is coming out, in this case, positive when I put in 8.01, coming out positive, they just leave a positive in the front because it's already positive. Okay, so now let's go on and factor the rest of this thing. This x goes to 8 from the right. So how do you factor on the top? Let's take out a 2. Here, I'll keep the color the same if that helps. Take out a 2. That leaves x minus 8, right? Because if you multiply that 2 times x, 2 times 8, go back to x 16. Now on the bottom, I'm going to, in fact, rearrange these right here to be minus x plus 8. See right here, I just did that rearrange. See, I like the x's in the front. I took their signs with them. The order doesn't matter. Signs in front matter. And then we factor it by what? Taking out a negative 1 because we don't want a negative in front. That leaves x minus 8 because negative 1 times x, negative x, negative 1 times negative 8 plus 8. Now these cancel. What do we have left? Negative 2, or sorry, 2 over negative 1, which is just negative 2. There we go. That's the answer to that part. So it's different answers. And so that's not easy. You might need to watch this video more than once. And that's how we do that.